Well, he worked for them. He has his own podcast now, but Falcor Weapons are based out of Whitefish, Montana. They built a beautiful rifle for me. It's like a $6,000 gun.
Shit. Crazy,
So.
crazy. Cool, man. Well, we're live now, so I just want to keep this like super casual. Like if we just got done with a workout like we did up at the house, and just
Who are we live with?
so it's actually on the application. So
okay.
on the app, it's live streaming through there, and also on what I don't know if you know Twitch. It's mainly for gaming, but it's also on our YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel, which we don't have a ton of subscribers on there. But so.
Can you send me the link or can you send it to me when we're done?
Yeah, of course. I'll send you the raw content. I'll send you the video, and all the social stuff. So you can use it
cool.
you can use it for your social media. So, to get started, I mean, I was trying to look online to see about your background and like where you grew up, because I think that influences like who you are today. So I'd be curious if you'd be willing to share like how you grew up and how that influenced, getting into Marines and everything you've done in your life, if you've ever reflected on that before.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Highbridge, New Jersey, a very rural hometown, USA. I think the population was 3,000 people. It was a steel mill town. I think the town was created in like 1740. Very middle class. My dad was an electrical contractor and started his own business. 5 kids. I always wanted to be a cop. And what got me out of New Jersey, funny enough, I got out of high school and I asked the local police chief if they were hiring me. They knew me. I mean, I was a local kid, athlete. And he said, listen, if you go in the Marine Corps, I'll hire you when you get out. Because, he was very polite to me. He was like, hey, you're young, you're immature. So I was like, great. So I went in the Marine Corps, and then I realized there's a big world out there, bigger than New Jersey. When you grow up someplace, you think that's the center of the universe.
Totally. I mean, I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, like 2,000 people. And so I totally feel there. What sports did you play in high school? I'm curious.
Big wrestler with my little brother. We were all wrestlers, and I did track, the weighted track, javelin, shot put, discus, and some football. But actually, I was more into the wrestling and the weighted, track.
And how did you do with it? I'm curious. Did you make it to state ever, or?
Yeah, I mean, I went to states. I mean, I did pretty good. Varsity. I wasn't some rock star, but I did pretty good. And then I got into powerlifting my senior year. I liked weightlifting, so I started doing powerlifting, and then I continued that when I was in the Marine Corps. I was on the Marine Corps powerlifting team.
Dang.
Yeah.
So what was that like being in the Marines? Like, I mean, you hear stuff about it, but I haven't really heard from the inside scoop. Like, what was the training like when you first got there? Was it what you were expecting? And
well, it's nothing. I mean, you can't. There's no way you can, when you're a young guy, to even envision what it's like. Very eye-opening. You grow up overnight. I mean, boot camp. I went to Paris Island, which is down in the Carolinas, and scary as a kid. But you grow up. 12 weeks of training. I think I probably lost 30 pounds in 12 weeks.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a little fat. I didn't realize I came out all jacked, and my parents didn't recognize me when they came to graduation. And then I got to see the world. I did some security for some of the generals in the Marine Corps and traveled the world and saw a lot of countries. Realized I still wanted to be a cop, but I wasn't going to go back to New Jersey, obviously. So I ended up in California.
What were some of the places you traveled when you were a Marine? And did that influence and how did that influence your view on the world? Because I'm sure like seeing all those places for the first time must have been pretty eye-opening, right? Different people, different cultures, different foods.
Oh, for different cultures, yeah. We went to Beirut when the embassy was bombed.
Damn.
That was years ago. Okinawa, mainland Japan, Korea, Germany. Went to a lot of places. It was really amazing to see how the rest of the world works, especially when you live in a small town. I grew up in a small town, never left really the States.
What was your favorite place?
I don't know if there's a favorite. I mean, I didn't go to I went to Australia for Quest, but that's a great place, Australia.
Yeah. You like the girls there or what?
Everyone's beautiful.
Yeah, that is very true. Everyone's beautiful there. They got the beautiful.
But it's just a great, nice people. Like the culture's, great vibe. But yeah, I enjoyed Australia.
Sweet. Nice. Yeah, I've never been. That's a place I've always wanted to go, mainly for like just to surf and hang out. But
yeah.
And so, going back to Marines, what were some of the most defining character building moments? Because it's like it's not an easy thing to do to graduate as a Marine, right? Like they put you through some of the most rigorous training. So
I think there's a lot of it. It's just very disciplined. You're very regimented. I don't know, man, defining moments. I was always a good shooter. I didn't realize when I grew up I always shot firearms. That really helped me in the Marine Corps because the Marine Corps, there's several things they pride themselves on is we're a very elite small group, and then their shooting ability. They're known as great shooters, fire with rifles. So I did very well with shooting.
Interesting. And how did that carry over to anything you did with Quest, or like do you think some of those things that you learned there helped kind
Well,
of define your
I
career?
think work ethic and discipline carries throughout life, right?
Totally.
So I became very disciplined and just you wake up, you have a purpose, get things done. I think that carries over in all aspects of your life.
It was so similar thing with powerlifting. Then you think a lot of just those, just the discipline of powerlifting kind of carried over to.
Yeah, I always did it. When you're in the military, you're either going to be an athlete or you're going to just, kind of hang out, party, whatever. And I just chose to be a powerlifter, and I hung out with guys that competed and arm wrestled, and we just did a lot of fun stuff. If we weren't deployed somewhere in the world, we were working out. Not a lot else to do, right?
Yeah. Well,
but we created discipline. I've always enjoyed working out. I still do.
I remember I've read. Have you ever read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book?
Many times. He's an old client of mine.
Oh,
so.
Nice. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember there's a part in the book where he talked about when he was in the Austrian military, and he was, he did some crazy stuff. Like he drove a tank through a wall. I was wondering if you had any moments like that where you drove a tank through a wall or something crazy like that that you're able to share, without.
Nothing I can talk about. I mean, we all do stupid stuff, but nothing nothing like that.
Oh, okay. No worries. That's funny though. Cool. So after the Marines, you got into the LAPD. What was that transition like? And that's something you said you always wanted to do when you were growing up. What was that?
I always wanted to do it. It was like a boyhood thing. My uncle was a police officer in Philadelphia, a sergeant. My neighbor was with the state police in New Jersey. It's just something I always wanted to. It was a pride thing. It was giving back to the community. I always wanted to do it. So when I got out, I ended up in LA and I started processing. It took about a year. Matter of fact, I was in Camp Pendleton for a powerlifting meet, and there was a career day, and I remember the highway patrol was there, and I thought, oh shit, that's actually one of the reasons I stayed, because I saw this opportunity in law enforcement. I thought, shit, I'll just stay in California and process, and instead of going back to New Jersey, and I processed with everyone. I put applications in with 15 different departments, and that was literally back when it wasn't online. You got a paper application in the mail, filled it out, put a stamp on it, sent it back. And then you get a letter saying, okay, you're up for your physical, testing. And LAPD came through first. And while I was processing, it took about a year. I was doing everything. I was working as a trainer at a local Gold's Gym in Southern California here, and I was driving a truck part-time, and I was working as a mason, like a labor guy. I was doing everything, and then I got a job selling cars, and it's crazy. It just came naturally. I never thought car salesman sounds kind of dirty to me. I don't know why. Like, it's kind of gross. And I was their number one sales guy for 8 months.
Wow.
They didn't want to let me go. The owner's like, dude, you can make like $150,000. That was back then. He goes, I'll pay you whatever it takes. I was like, I don't want to sell cars. It was fun selling cars because I didn't really try.
Dang, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to make 2 points there. One, did you hear that Gold's Gym just filed for bankruptcy yesterday?
I saw that. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to affect it. I think it's corporate, because there's some franchisees which I'm sure will survive.
Yeah. Well, they have 100.
And who knows? They'll restructure. I mean, Gold's Gym is like iconic, so I hope it doesn't go under.
I know.
But I saw that about 24-hour fitness too. I heard they're having some challenges, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy. That's a whole other conversation. But to me, mental health and physical health is one of the most paramount things in our life. And I know it can't be managed because of this social spacing. But I would think that gyms are paramount to be open for people's health.
I 100% agree with that. I can't believe they had the audacity to say that gyms weren't an essential business. Like, you look at how many
even if you limit it to 20 people per hour or something, but it's just, you got a liquor store open. That's a whole other conversation. But I really think it's affecting, people are going to die from obesity and heart disease and diabetes. So,
well, 15 million people die a year around the world from heart disease, right? And, even if 1 million people die from this disease, like,
that's
I don't know. So, I think it's just it's a lot of marketing around this, right? There's a lot of big media, but that's a whole other conversation, like you said. Maybe we can touch on that later. But I'd be interested to hear your perspective on it. But another thing I want to chat about was how you left your used car salesman. Like, you would have got paid 100%. He said he was willing to pay whatever, but for whatever reason, you listened to your heart and intuition, and said like, I don't really care about the money. I just want to do. It seemed to me like you just want to do what you love. Was that the case?
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. I mean, even when I was in high school, I worked for my dad. He was a contractor, electrical contractor. He started his own business making the equipment. And he said you could take over the business, and I probably would have been wealthy. I just had no desire. I always wanted to be a cop, and it was the same thing when I was selling cars. I remember my background officer came to the dealership to interview the owner, and the owner called me and goes, "You want to be a cop?" And I said, "Yeah." It's like, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I could have you running this place. You'll be the manager here. And you do very well in the car business, and especially being a manager." And I said, "Yeah, I don't." I love it. It was fun because it was just fun. People show up and like, "Hey, you want to buy a car? Let's go for a test drive." There was no hard sell with me. I was just like an easygoing guy. But he couldn't get my head, or he actually accepted. He came to my graduation. He's like, "Man, I got to admire that you want to follow your passion as opposed to the dollars, you know?"
Yeah.
But I've always been like that. I mean, listen, money is a great motivator and it facilitates things in life, but it obviously doesn't bring happiness. So it just facilitates things.
Well, I think that's beautiful that you were able to follow that at such a young age. Like, how was it just like you never questioned it? You never questioned like, "Hey, this is what my heart wants to do."
Never thought about it.
Seriously, wow, that's beautiful. Honestly, I think that's beautiful. Because I think, I think it's beautiful.
I still think like that. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Money does make things happen in the world, but it's not the motive. It's not my end all. You gotta be happy, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, and actually, another thing I want to talk about with your LAPD is I saw Rodney King riots just had their anniversary recently. What was that like working LAPD when those riots were going on?
That was, interesting. When I joined, it seemed like there was a sequence of things. We had the riots, the earthquake. We had a lot of the OJ trial. There's a lot of things that happened. The riots, though, obviously, everyone, if you remember, you'd have to Google it, but the Rodney King verdict went down. The officers were acquitted that had beat him, and within hours, people started rioting, and it was mayhem. It didn't happen everywhere. There was some little rioting around the country, but LA was burning down. I mean, I think I just did a post on it. I think 63 people died in 5 days.
Damn. So it was like a war zone.
It was a war zone. The military came in and backed us up. We were Molotov cocktails being thrown in our police cars. We set up these lines to keep people from going any further, like into Hollywood and stuff. It was mayhem. I always say the regular law-abiding citizens became like criminals. Like people started smashing. Like there was a Sears and Robot, like a department store in Hollywood. People just started smashing windows, just taking TVs and tools, just regular people that would not normally be doing that. It kind of became like a mob mentality.
Why do you think that was? Just because they were infuriated?
Yeah, I don't know, opportunists. It was an interesting time, but it lasted for, I think, almost 6 days. It was nonstop.
Damn, that's so crazy.
Yeah, but it was an interesting time.
I was curious because of that post I saw that I wanted to mention that to see if just to hear your thoughts on it. But anyway, so when you're wrapping up your time at LAPD, you were starting your own security firm. What was that like? I mean, from what I understand, you were working at LAPD, you were working for another security firm, and you were starting your own kind of at the same time. Is that the case? And like,
yeah. I mean, like I think I was working for extra money, and I had done protection work in the Marine Corps, so I enjoyed it. It was like a service thing. I enjoyed doing it. Helping people and providing security. I'm very logistically minded, and I just started working for a retired Beverly Hills cop, and after a few months, I was like, this isn't, I get it. Like, he sent me on some details with some high-profile people, so I just got my own license and got everything together and and went to him and said, hey, I'm going to start my own business, and he embraced it. And I've always been a relationship person. I bank everything on relationship capital in life, building relationships and not asking for anything in return. And a friend of mine had a very successful limousine business, and we hit it off, and he started referring business to me. And there was a period of time where, you name it, Mariah Carey, Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, they were all clients of mine.
Wow.
And I was still working, so I had to leave the police department. I just couldn't do both. There was not time in the day.
How did you even get those as clients? Like that, I mean, it seems like those people were, almost untouchable. But I suppose
some of that was word of mouth. Like I said, my friend Charlie, who owned CLS Transportation, he drove a lot of high profile people, and he'd start telling people, hey, I have a guy, you should try him, and that's kind of what happened. And it's interesting, once you start doing business with one person, they'll see, Bruce is taking care of so and so, he must be good, and it just kind of happened that way. I was doing some of the Kardashians work early on when she got when Kim got married in her first wedding. Things just started happening.
Yeah.
And snowballing. And next thing you know, you're doing investigations and stalking cases. And, I did a lot of work for a lot of high profile people.
Was Kim's wedding, was that the one in Minnesota with Chris Humphries?
Chris Humphries, but they got married up in Santa Barbara.
Oh, they got married in Santa Barbara. Okay. Because they were actually in my hometown, like in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, because he was from the town over. Which
it was interesting during that, whatever the Kardashian show, but they had a week where it was like Kim's wedding week, and I ended up being on the show because I took her to get fitted for her wedding gown. And
no way.
They came. Yeah, it was fun. They checked. It was a good time, but they were one of many clients, and great. I mean, I still have some clients. I still have some clients that I take care of, but I just don't have the time, so it's not as many special requests and these other things.
What was it like working with them? Like, I'm curious because I feel like most people don't have the perspective of working up close with them, but actually providing a service to them, right? Like are you friends with them, or is it more like strictly business?
No, I'm not friends. So it's interesting. It's funny to use the word friends. I always tell people that would work for me, I would always remind people we're in the service industry.
Yeah.
And it's no different. You're a service to them, and once you think you become friends, it usually goes south.
Interesting.
And I end up maintaining a very good rapport with my clients and a respectful one. But I can give you an example. I always train my guys like, hey, if you go to a restaurant with one of my clients, and celebrity is sitting you're going to sit at the bar. You're never going to join them. And people will graciously invite you. Hey, why don't you join us for dinner? No, I'm going to sit at the bar. I would sometimes have guys think that invitation, all it was a gesture of kindness.
Totally.
They didn't really want you to be there, but what do they think? Oh, they're treating you like a servant. So I'd always say no, thank you. And just like sitting outside in the rain in front of their house. I mean, there's certain things you just do if you're in the service industry. But sometimes people don't get that. So while I'm friendly with my clients, I'm never friends with them. And one pretty famous guy in the music industry, very powerful guy at the time, ran all the record labels. He one day said to me, hey, we're going to have a long relationship because you understand the difference between business and personal. Because I've had too many people want to become friends with us, and they're just not.
That's an interesting paradox because like the less you become friends with them, the closer you get to them. Like in the industry.
And they became much more dependent on me. But they'd always call me, and people started calling me with problems, like nothing to do with security. Like, hey, I need to find a dog trainer. I'm looking to sell my Range Rover. But because they're comfortable with you, but I never crossed the line.
So they trust.
And that's why I try and tell people. I'm even thinking about writing a book about it, like the etiquette of the service industry. But people don't get their head around that. I lost a couple clients because I was only one person, so I can only do so much. And I remember I sent one of my guys to Mexico with a very high-profile woman, singer, actress, who's still very relevant, and I lost her because he was there for 5 days and he got too comfortable, too much conversation, too much lackadaisical attitude, and they called me and said, hey, your guy is just too comfortable. So anyway, that's for another story. But people, if you're in the service industry, you have to remember what you're serving them.
Yeah.
If they wanted to be your friend, you'd be friends. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, it's more so applicable in the security. I'm not saying if you're a personal banker, maybe you can become friendlier because it's more intimate. But as far as security, you're obviously keeping your distance, paying attention to what's going on. If you're sitting at a dinner table talking to them, you're not paying attention to what's going on. You know?
Exactly. I was just about to bring that up. Like it's more for their own security, right? They're saying you being lackadaisical, they're worried for themselves. Like shit. Like. But.
Yeah. But it's a balancing act, but yeah, that's it. So I had some great success because of that. Because and I'll be honest, I had some artists that they were like, we like you because you're not in our business. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists, they have people that hanger-oners or friends or relatives that they have to take care of or their posse, and I'd be like on the outside, just making sure everything was cool. You know?
Yeah. Huh. So. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
So how did you transition from your security firm into Quest then? And how, like, I remember listening online, you actually met the founder of Quest at a gym. Like how serendipitous is that?
Yeah, that was just complete serendipitous. Shannon, who goes by Quest Creator, was making the bars by hand in her kitchen, literally. She worked out at the same gym as me, and she would always read bodybuilding magazines when she did the Stairmaster. So I'd make small talk with her. Never knew anything about what she did, and then about 2 months after knowing her from the gym, I went to the LA Fitness Expo. They had a small table 2 flavors of bars, and I was like, oh, didn't you have a bar company? Tried the bars, and literally it's a little blurry because for 9 months I helped them build relationships just organically. I liked them. I liked their product. I didn't ask for anything. It's one of the things I practice in life is I always say, bring value before you ask for anything. I didn't ever think I would work for them or with them. I just thought, hey, they're cool people. Their product's good. And ironically enough, the people I was protecting, I would start sending them. I would just tell Quest, hey, can you mail this person a box of bars? And I got them on the set of Extra, some celebrity gift bags, some golf tournament, and then they called me to the office a couple times to invite me to the office, and the office was in the ghetto. There was no illusion of them being successful then. It was literally, they were in Compton.
Wow.
With a couple flavors of bars, working in a shitty warehouse that I literally thought to myself the first time I went to their office is, I don't think they're going to be here in 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
But fast forward, 10 years later, we were sold for $1 billion, and they were making, we're making, 1 million bars a day. So obviously things worked out, but I became, and I say this very humbly, I became so valuable to them that they offered me to come in the company, and I created a lot of positions. And what I did, well, it was only because I was bringing them value, and I had pride and ownership in what I did. So
without you, they probably wouldn't have been, like you said, if they wouldn't have been around 6 months. Without you, they probably wouldn't have been around in 6 months, right? Without you coming.
Listen, that's one thing. Everyone's going to survive without you or me. I mean, business is going to go on, right?
Okay, fair. But
do I feel I had a significant impact on the business? Sure. Would they have gotten by without me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying I feel I contributed to the success of the business, but I'm not an I person. I'm just one small piece. Yeah. The guy making the bars, the janitor, I'm a full believer in that. Everyone, the retail salesperson. So, but I contributed, and it was fun. Listen, I always say this. I wouldn't say I was qualified to be in the nutrition space because I had to get a quick education and learn, but I think it was more the relationships space I was in, more than the nutrition space. I was about building relationships. So even though the sales guys would sell, they weren't necessarily inherently relationship people. They were more like, they took orders, we shipped the product, but then I maintained the relationship with the partners and did the charity golf tournaments and did the stuff that, that's meaningful to people.
Absolutely. I feel like me and you are maybe on a similar wavelength on that. I feel like I'm more maybe of a relationship person, but I guess I'm still young in my career, so.
Well, everything in life is relationships, and people. That's why I use the word relationship capital. If you have relationship capital, and now like my Rolodex is full. Like I can call anyone anytime, and not even to ask for anything, just check on people. But I think that carries you a long way in life. Just like one of the things I practice, even though I'm stealing it from Tony Hsieh, the Zappos founder, delivering happiness. I was a firm believer. I still am. I'm not talking past tense. Is delivering happiness to people. Personal, business, whatever it is, I always find joy in making people happy. Okay. And it's no different than you're slinging candy bars or chocolate bars or protein bars or drinks. It'll make people happy,
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I think it's super rare today to have your give first mentality, like to give value first. Like you got them on a TV show, like you didn't even ask for anything. Like you didn't ask for any money. You didn't ask for
never
equity.
asked for anything, and it's hard for people to get their head around. It's interesting. They used to use me for when they would interview people. Sometimes I would sit in the interviews and they'd say, hey, it's always younger because I'm obviously older. Hey, some young kid comes out of college. Hey, I want to be the director of marketing and start at $150,000 or whatever. And we'd be like, oh, well, what value do you want to bring or can you bring? And they'd say, Bruce, what did you do? And I'd say, I worked for 9 months for free. And their jaw would drop like, I want to make $150,000. I always tell people this. If you have your eye on a company you want to work at, doesn't matter what the field is, find a way to get in, whether maybe it's an unpaid internship. Who cares? If you got to work at night to pay your rent, find a way to get into a company because that's where you start. And maybe, I know you hear the stories, it's probably too cliche now, but a lot of these successful executives at studios started in the mailroom.
Totally.
Built relationships. It's no different now. People say, oh, that was a long time ago, Bruce. That doesn't work anymore. Sure it does. You want to go work at Google? Find one of the executive vice presidents. Say, I just want to learn. I'll put in 40 hours a week for you let me just show you my value. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people have a hard time getting their head around that. Because they're like, wait, what am I getting paid?
Mm-hmm.
You'll get paid. I mean, I got paid. Quest sold for $1 billion cash in November. So we made out, right?
Yeah.
But I so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's very true. That's interesting because so my last job, I was actually working over in Poland with a sportswear brand, and I met this guy just randomly, and I helped him with a sponsorship deal with the USA Ski and Snowboarding team, and I didn't ask for anything from it, but he was there for 4 years trying to enter the U.S. market, and hadn't had
Yeah.
anything. And within a couple months, I in front of the largest, one of the best sporting organizations in the world, and so he offered me a position, and what I mean, like he paid for me to come to Poland, and work, and I got to travel all around Europe, which was pretty sweet. So I 100% abide by that, even though maybe sometimes I'm not the best at it, but I definitely agree that that's probably the best way to go about it. Because you also and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like you're also showing that you don't have bad intentions about the company. You're in it for
Exactly.
the long haul, right?
And it doesn't. Listen, it's not always in our DNA. Most people aren't wired like that. Most people are like, wait, how I need to be compensated for my time. No, and that works for a lot of people. I'm just saying this has been my practice, and that's always worked. No, I've helped people, and I've gotten nothing out of it. And actually, sometimes it's ended kind of sour. But most of the time, I think if you have good intentions and you're not looking for anything, honestly, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, now I've evolved a little bit. People sometimes ask me to help them. I'm like, okay, well, what's that look like? I don't mind helping you.
That's true.
Because the problem is, they hear the Quest story. I had someone recently say he had a pretty successful company, and he said, "Well, I saw your podcast where you helped Quest for free for 9 months. Can't you help me for free for 9 months?"
Oh my god!
I said, "Sure, I can help you for free for an extended period of time." I said, "But all you're caring about is me working for free for you, instead of saying here's what we would do if we do that." So it's a give and take.
I agree 100%. So what was that like when you kind of, you obviously made your own position? What was that like growing into the company? And because obviously when you joined, it was it wasn't a guaranteed success. Like you didn't have a clear path to $1 billion exit, right? And so I'm curious what that was like.
Listen, it's still fun, but it was much funner then because it was literally virgin territory.
Yeah.
Even though there was protein bars out there, Quest bars just took off and people enjoyed them because of the taste, the texture. They were low carb, high protein, gluten free, and people really jumped on the bandwagon, and it was just like a train. So when I was out there, it was just a fun time because you're getting product in people's hands, and I've always been known as being very generous with samples. I give thousands of bars a month out. Shit, look at when we met. I brought product to the.
You fed us for a week. You fed us for a week, like. Yeah, and you didn't even know us. You didn't even know us. So.
Yes, so that, but I still do that to this day because I feel like if you have something good to offer people, why not give it to them? I mean, you're going to eventually. Our hope would be you become a lifetime customer. If you don't, great. If you do, great. But at least you enjoyed some product. Maybe you'll tell 2 friends.
Where did you get that philosophy from? Because I feel like Red Bull does something similar to that. Like they do a lot of stuff, but they're more strategic about it. Like they give it to maybe just like influencers or things like that.
Yeah, listen, we have influencers. Oops, sorry. Sorry. We have an influencer program. Don't get me wrong, but I don't. One thing I learned early on, I don't judge someone. Some brands were like, "Oh, you don't have 10,000 followers." I don't care. If I go to Gold's Gym when I work out, I will average giving out. I'm just making up a number because I'm trying to think how. I'll give out 100 bars a weekend. If I get, I'll give a guy a box, a girl a box, whatever. I don't look at him and say, "How many followers do you have?" I want to bring some value to someone's life, and if they tell people about it, great. I wouldn't say there was ever any rhyme or reason to it, just like there's not now. I think I might have lost track of what you were saying, but I just like sharing with people.
Yeah, no, I was talking about how Red Bull maybe does what you're doing, but they do it in a strategic way. But I honestly like how you do it better because I feel like the micro influencers or the everyday person, they still have 20 or 30 people that they have maybe much more influence than this big influencer would have, right? And so
I work with some people. There you have to kind of just look at the world. There's a big world out here. Yeah, maybe. Some people just focus on, hey, you have to have 50,000 followers. I'm not going to send you $20 worth of product. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're going to have, everyone's consuming food. Everyone's a potential customer for life. And if they're not, so be it. Maybe you just made someone's day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never looked at it that you had to have so many followers to get product from us or me. I generously give. And I still do to this day. I mean, I drive around my Jeep. I went to FedEx this morning. I left a box of bars on the counter for FedEx crew.
Dang, wow!
But that's just what I do, and I think it's giving without any expectations, and that's another thing I think brands sometimes mess up. I see people will say, "Hey, if if I send you this thing, will you post about it and tag 3 friends? No, maybe, but you know what I mean? That's not organic. That's not. And one thing I think we did very well early on was we had organic, genuine relationships.
Yeah.
Some very powerful people. I could, not really being a name dropping, but there were some athletes that would just post about it, do a tweet, and because they liked it, because it was authentic. Some UFC fighters would talk about us, and sometimes the managers would be like, "Hey, we should be getting paid for that," but they liked it. It was authentic relationships.
Yeah.
And that was one thing a lot of brands don't have is authentic relationships. They have to put a dollar figure to it or say, if I give you this, I want that back.
And I feel like what you said, it's much more organic, and I feel like they're almost more willing to do it if you don't ask, because then it's coming from their own will, right?
I had people, believe me, there's people I've sent product to, and even recently, and I'm like, holy shit! Wow, someone just did an Instagram story and they got 6 million followers. I'm like, wow, with no expectation, and it's like that's just cool. It feels good. And that shows that they appreciate the brand, they enjoy it, and it's real.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. God bless the athletes that get the McDonald's deal or whatever. They're making a lot of money and they endorse it. But I think it's just fun to have authentic relationships.
I agree. Well, was that always a part of your plan, or is that something you just kind of came up on your own through?
No, I don't even know how it came up. By the way, it's funny. One of the things I practice, and this is me. It's almost embarrassing because when I used to go out with the founders of Quest, they never did it. And I would anytime I got out of the car, there'd be the Quest bag, and they'd be, shit, we forgot the product. But because it wasn't, I don't know where it came from. It wasn't like my mom taught it to me, but I would always say, don't ever show up empty-handed. You're going to a meeting, you're going to I don't care where you're going. Don't show up empty-handed.
That's beautiful. Wow.
And it's not, whether it's a date, whether it's a dinner, whether it's a meeting, going to the gym. If you catch me walking to the Gold's Gym without product, that was a bad day for me.
Seriously?
You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's ever happened.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so did that contribute to your guys' distribution? Because you guys have some of the best distribution I've ever seen out of any physical product. Like, you guys are in every single cafe, every single grocery store, every big department store, Walmart, Target. Like, how did you guys get that distribution?
That was a process. I mean, it obviously created the hype and demand by social media, and we built it out pretty strategically. It was a process, Started out in specialty, which is like GNC, Vitamin Shop, the niche supplement stores. Yeah. And then it rolled out to then 7-Eleven. We're in all 7-Elevens, Target now, but it was a rollout. Yeah. It wasn't just we're everywhere.
How did it start?
I think we're in almost every. I can't think of a retail place I don't walk into now I don't see us.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys are everywhere. It's unbelievable what you guys have done.
Some great distribution partners for sure.
How did you guys get started with it? Was it just through GNC? You just picked a niche and then attacked
first it was online, and then GNC was our biggest partner for quite a long time. Yeah, GNC.
Wow.
Now it's Amazon. The tides have turned. Now it's Amazon.
Wow, interesting. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. What's been some of your favorite? What's been one of your favorite moments at Quest? Over the years. Maybe was it one of the early days when you guys were first, guerrilla marketing, kind of.
Guerrilla market early on. We did a lot of expos and trade shows like the Arnold Classic. It's a big bodybuilding fitness expo in Columbus, Ohio. A lot of great times at the Olympia. Our booth was so big. I think it was 80 feet long by 40 feet wide, and 50 ambassadors with DJs, and it was big. It was a good time. It was. I don't want to use the word. It was a 3-day party. It was a 3-day celebration of the brand where we gave a lot of product out. Yeah. Very expensive, and then meetings with partners. I think there's so many great memories. I mean, even our company retreats have become really special, where the whole company comes together. There's always a theme and guest speakers, but so many good memories. I don't know.
What are some of the retreats you guys go on? If you can share, maybe you can. I don't know if it's like what are the retreats that you guys go on?
Well, we do a company annual company retreat, local. It's either
got you. Okay.
No, I don't mean like retreat to Bali or
Bali. Yeah. Doing some.
Maybe that's
cacao ceremony.
Company retreat. We have we have like 160 employees, so we all get together at like 2 days of speakers and cooking demos and talking about the future. But all internal, like a company retreat. Yeah.
That's nice. So going back to some of the fitness conferences, when I was working with a sportswear brand, I went to one called Outdoor Expo in Denver, and then another one called ISPO in Germany. Have you guys been to either of those?
Wait, what's the one in Germany?
ISPO?
FIBO, what you said?
ISPO, International Sports.
No.
Oh, okay.
So I've been to FIBO in Germany. FIBO is considered, I think, the biggest fitness expo in the world.
I thought ISPO was, but maybe it's more for apparel. I think because the company I was with was apparel, but they have lots of like ski wear and outdoor apparel there. But it was massive. But
there's tons of there's Ursa. There's so many fitness related, and that was our core bodybuilding shows. We sometimes would do 6 bodybuilding shows a weekend around the country.
Dang, that's crazy. Oh,
yeah.
Shoot, my computer's about to die here. I'm gonna go plug it in. So what are some of your so obviously you're still working at Quest, but
yeah.
What is your I know you work with Legendary Foods. What is your relationship with there? I know the founders of Quest started.
The founders of Quest started Legendary, so I helped them with some relationship building, and then obviously from there, Ron, the founder, spent a lot of money on cancer research, and we started a dog food company. A human grade dog food company called Visionary Dog Food.
Okay.
So that's another company that I helped them with some relationship building.
And so, are you like officially with the company, or?
No, I mean I'm with Quest, but I mean I helped them with some relationships.
Oh, nice. Shit, sorry, I'm just trying to plug this in. I wonder if I can unplug this. Oh, I don't know if
Is your phone gonna die?
No, my computer is.
Oh.
Hopefully that didn't do anything inside. Oh well. So, sorry about this little hiccup here.
That's okay.
So obviously you're like the brand guru, right? What is some of the biggest piece of advice you give to anybody starting a brand like us? Like, right, we're super nascent. What was some of the things that you would say to us as advice? Like, get first. That seemed to be like one of the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, some things you could do that. It's the service industry. It depends what kind of service. It's kind of hard, but have pride and ownership. Even if you're not an owner, have pride in what you do.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, one of the things that kind of almost became a joke for a while is a lot of people think I'm the founder of Quest, only because I'm out and about. Even when I was with the founders, I remember one time it was almost embarrassing. We were at a restaurant, left a restaurant, we were in ballet, and I drove a wrapped Jeep. My vehicle's always been wrapped, Quest Jeep. Mm-hmm. And my Jeep pulled up, and the guy says, "Oh, are you the owner of Quest?" I said, "No." And the owner's with me. I said, "Yeah, he's the owner." Like everywhere we went. But I call that pride and ownership because I represented the brand. And people thought I was the owner just because of how I represented myself. And anyone could do that. That sometimes could equate to, remuneration and payouts down the road. Depends on, where you go with the company, right?
Yeah.
But pride and ownership, bring value without asking for anything in return, and relationship capital. I think those are the, some of the main things I practice.
Yeah. Thanks. That's awesome.
Regardless of where you're starting a company today, you really have got to be relationship driven. Don't be product driven. You could set, because here's the thing: no matter what you sell, you want to have a repeat customer, and to have a repeat customer, you need to have a relationship. You can have a good. Product will get you so far, but if they really, actually, one of the things I read in Delivering Happiness, I think 8 or 9 out of 10 people want to do business with people they like.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So you may have a good product, but if you're subpar service or subpar relationship, people may shy away. But if you have great relationships, people will forgive you. If you have a great relationship with someone, they will forgive you for subpar product. Does that make sense?
100%.
Like, I really like those guys. Their product's okay, but I like them a lot. I'm going to keep buying.
Do you think that goes hand in hand with storytelling too? Like, you look at a company like Airbnb, like sure their product is great, but there was another company, there was other companies before them who were doing the same thing, but they had such a great and compelling story. Was that kind of a similar thing with Quest? Or
you cut out % about the story. What?
Great storytelling. Do you think that was very important to building Quest into the brand it is?
Yeah. Listen. It's interesting. There's a couple stories around there. So,
okay, let's hear it.
Storytelling is great. Storytelling, I think I talked to you first about that. Storytelling is great. I think we had a good product that stood on its own feet and had told its own story. I think one founder had a story. Shannon, who actually created the company, had the true story. She was a fitness person who's a super foodie. And she was making the bars by hand, and she was making them for her friends that she did like boot camps, fitness stuff. Mm-hmm. Her husband had the business sense to take it to work and say, "Hey guys, I think we can make a business out of this." They were in the security software business, nothing to do with nutrition.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
Yeah, nothing to do with nutrition. They were in nutrition in their minds, and they were fit, but they weren't in that. They didn't come from that space. And initially, they planned on just being a marketing company. They were going to take the product and bring it to someone and say, "Can you make this for us?" The problem is no one could manufacture it because they all the manufacturers want us to have like agave, honey, liquid sugar to make it more pliable and doughy. So we had to buy our own equipment. But the truth of the matter is Shannon made a great product, and her husband went to his partners and said, "Hey, let's try and make this a business." And they, at first, were not excited about it. They were like, "We're not in the nutrition space. We're not in the protein bar space. We're in software and security." So that was it. So they popped up a website, gave it a shot, and it grew some legs.
Wow.
As far as the story, listen, every company has a story. I think ours is simply we made a great product that tasted good and it was good for you. And that story is carried on. You know, we're trying to make foods that are good for you. And I always say this picture, going to a Super Bowl party, there's going to be, the unhealthy table, and then there's going to be the Quest table. As now we have bars, chips, powders, cookies, pizzas.
I was going to say, yeah. I saw pizzas the other day at Ralph's. I was like, no way, that's so crazy.
So we have everything now. We're a food company. We have 8-10 different things. So, picture that in the future where you go, like you said, to a party and you have a Quest table with all the healthy versions as opposed to the high carb added sugar stuff.
Where do you see the future of Quest going? I mean, obviously you guys are a food company now. Like, what do you guys see yourself expanding into more food products or?
Yeah, it's always going to go. Yeah, we just launched I guess the closest version, it's a snack bar, which is like, I call it like a kind bar, the nuts.
Yeah.
But a healthier version, no added sugar. It's held together with allulose and stuff and not liquid sugar. So that was our latest. I think we have 4 or 5 flavors of the nut bar, snack bar. And then from there, well, who knows? The product lines are endless. I mean, we have some cool things coming out that are going to be pretty exciting. So I think that's going to continue.
Dang. Cool. So some more questions about you. Word is on the street that you were in People magazine. How did that happen?
What is sexiest man alive? What was that?
No, you were on People magazine, weren't you? I was listening to.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
I've been in there a few times. So that was funny. So that was before iPhones. I worked so much with celebrities that there was times when I think one of the times I was with you probably don't remember him, was Sammy Davis Jr.
No, I don't even know who that is. Sorry.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna look him up right now.
He was part of the Rat Pack. He was a big performer. He was a grand marshal for the Hollywood Parade, and I was assigned to him. It was plain clothes. I was assigned to him to be a security detail, and I didn't realize that he was obviously an icon. A lot of pictures were taken, just photos, and I remember like a month later, my mom called me and said, "Hey, I just picked up People magazine. You're like on the spread." Sadly, he died like 2 months later, so there was a whole tribute to him in People magazine, and I was like right there next to, off the sending the picture. But
wow.
So then that kind of happened a lot because when you go to a lot of premieres and you're working, there's just obviously tons of photographers. So I never asked anyone to take pictures, and nor was I able to give. There was no phone to give anyone. I don't even think I had a cell phone then. Ended up getting some publications. Yeah, so
Dang,
that just happened.
That's so crazy.
That ended up happening a lot, like probably 20, 30 times, just from being around and being in the background. And we're like, "Where's Waldo?"
Where's Bruce? Where's Bruce? You can start. That could be a good marketing campaign. Where's Bruce? Have like all the different. Yeah. Have all the different ones in there. All the different covers. That's funny. So.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So what do you do now to stay fit? Obviously, you're still super fit. Like I remember the other day we did a HIIT workout together, but I'm curious what else you do.
Pretty much. I mean, obviously, if things were normal, I have a trainer. I go to the gym, but since I don't, I been doing a lot of Zoom workouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of friends and trainers that are posting them. Shit, I could probably go every hour on the hour. So I try to do like 2 a day. Mostly mat work, push-ups and stuff. But I'm actually, I've never done more push-ups in my life, right?
Seriously, yeah.
But it's a different kind of workout. I like lifting weights. This morning, a good friend of mine, he lives alone and he's by himself. So he has a gym in his garage, so we work out together. It's like the illegal underground now if you can find a gym to work out. It's like,
yeah.
It's like you're breaking the law.
The underground gym railroad.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still doing that, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So one final thing, we touched on this earlier, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, and I don't know how political you want to get with this, but about the coronavirus and the situation with the gyms. Like just your view overall about the whole situation.
Listen, it's just an opinion. It's like talking about politics or religion, right? Everyone's got their view or opinion. It is interesting, though, right? You got liquor stores are open, and you could go to a Ralph's Market and literally you're elbow to elbow with people.
I know.
I'm not sure, for the mental health more so than anything, mental health, let alone physical health, for a gym is a great escape for people.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could control it, even if they said, okay, you're only allowed 20 people, I don't know, let's make up a number, 20 people per in the gym at a time. I mean, they're surely not, when you're at Ralph's, you're bumping into people going down the aisle, so it's, I don't know who makes the decisions, right? And sometimes, I do question it because, liquor stores are open, but not, places for mental and physical health. So what do you do? It's going to be open soon enough, I think, right?
I hope so. Gavin,
Yeah.
Aren't they starting the phasing pretty soon? I think I was reading something about California.
I mean, listen, even for the economy, we got to get things moving. So
yeah, it's a scary time. Scary time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we can wrap it up here. I want to be respectful from your time.
Cool. Everyone. Yeah.
And but I do want to go for a workout with you again. We got to do another HIIT workout for the.
Yeah. What did we do? 50? Knocked out 50 push-ups.
We did a couple. We did 50 push-ups, and we did it twice, I think, and then we did two-minute planks. Are you still sore from it?
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to hang.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, "There's no way." But
I'll be honest.
You're not a quitter.
I like doing planks, but I've never done a 2-minute plank. I guess you experience new things all the time, right? One thing I've learned is I'm not afraid to do anything. That's why I tell people advice I give people. They're like, "Oh, I don't know, rode a horse." And, well, why not go do it? I mean, what? For me, it's working out. I don't care what it is. I'll do it. I mean, I may not look good doing it. It may not beat you, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it, right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing in life is people live in regrets. So I didn't do that. I wasn't sure if I could do it. So who cares? Do it. What's the worst case? If you beat me in push-ups, I'd be like, well, of course, because he's 22.
Yeah.
But if I matched you, I'd be like, look, I kept
the old guy can hang.
Right?
The old guy can hang.
I can hang. That's my excuse now, especially with the guys I work out with. They're all younger than me. I'm like, hey, I'm doing the same weight as you, so you got no room to talk.
Yeah. Well, if we went on for a run, I think I could dust you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I mean, my point is, people always say they haven't. The reason why they don't do something. Who cares? Just, right?
Yeah. It cut out there for a little bit. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you kind of getting sketchy.
Yeah. Oh, we're back. We're back in action.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's definitely work out. I mean, hopefully when the gyms open up too, we'll go to the gym.
Yeah. Well, I've only been here for 3 weeks, so I don't really know many of the places around here. So.
Well, you're in a good spot. Culver City is a great location.
Yeah, and it's nice and safe. It's cheap rent, so all the good things.
All right.
Cool. So, question and challenge for you: who would you challenge us from your network, or who would you like to see from your network on the podcast to share their story about through fitness and how it's kind of shaped them today?
On your show?
Yeah.
Probably my friend John Bartolo.
John Bartolo. Interesting. I don't know if I've heard of him before.
So John Bartolo is a good friend of mine. I met him. He was the CEO of Falcor Weapons. He's very in the fitness space. Cool. He lives in Vegas. He has his own podcast. Very well connected.
Interesting. We'll have to reach out.
I send you a lot of.
What were you gonna say?
I don't know. Yeah, he does Brazilian jiu-jitsu and different things. Very well connected guy.
Okay. Cool. Well, that'll be our next target then.
Yeah, let me know. I'm happy to help you.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, cool, Bruce. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you sharing your story. I definitely learned a lot about you, and it was great to have you on.
All right, cool. Tell the guys I said hi.
Yeah, absolutely.